This is the Strait of Malacca. The straits been the main connecting link between Europe, the Middle East and South Asia on one side and East Asia on the other side. Connecting the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea, Strait of Malacca is a waterway that runs between the Indonesian island of Sumatra to the west and West Malaysia and extreme southern Thailand to the east. The name of Straits is from the trading port of Malacca that was significant in the 16th and 17th centuries. But what is so important about Malacca Strait? For Malaysia, it is the front courtyard of the country. For Singapore, it is a lifeline of its economy, while Indonesia claimed it as the throat of the nation. For Southeast Asia, it is the channel into the body of the region. The Straits of Malacca is a choke point for the world trade, the sea passage connecting the China Sea with the Indian Ocean. But there is one main problem in the straits: the piracy. Over the past decade, piracy had existed in the world's busiest international shipping links, the Straits of Malacca. This maritime crime had challenged the security of the straits. One of the significant challenges that developed to the international security in Asia is the security of the sea. As security is important in the well-being of a state, thus the term of security is very crucial in international system, including security of the sea. In this case study, three international relation concepts including maritime piracy, maritime security, and the law of the sea will be analyzed to have a better explanation on the maritime piracy in the Straits of Malacca.
There are few countries that involved in this pirate attack in the Strait of Malacca, which are Indonesia, Philippines, and Malaysia itself. The activities of the pirate in the Strait of Malacca are not a new issue. It has already taken place for hundreds of years. According to the International Maritime Bureau, IMB, the Malacca Strait experienced about 26 to 64 attacks in the year between 2000 and 2005. Actually, an attempt attack occurred in 2003, which is the second largest in 1991, while in 2004, Malacca Strait experienced 30 attacks. In 2005, statistics show decline number of the attack by 20% due to the Asian tsunami occurred in 2014. Although no incident of piracy occurred 2 months after the tsunami in 2015, attack was resumed after a number of years of stability, with more than 50% out of the cases reported in the Southeast Asia incident was as being appointed to happen in Strait of Malacca, which was declared to have a higher number of pirate attacks in worldwide. Regarding on the piracy and the armed robbery, there were just 3 such info endeavors assault by the piracy in the Malacca Strait in 2007. As in 2008, the lower level of piracy has continued. The pirates that attack in the area of Malacca Strait usually are from all over places of the archipelago, especially in the city of Palembang of Sumatra. From the village in the archipelago, the pirate will travel to the island in the Malacca Strait or South China Sea and began to set up their plans. After the pirates felt not secure in the involvement in the piracy, they will return back to their archipelago to distribute their goods before joining their family in Sumatra. Next, they are known as a member of the Free Aceh movement, GAM, Gerakan Aceh Merdeka. Since 1976, this organization has been fighting for Aceh independence and assisted by the usage of arms. This piracy also consists of the kidnapping of crew members for ransom. The ships are being aimed and attacked are the local feature in Hutan Melimbang, which is known as fishing villages adjacent to leisure site of Malacca Strait, were often being aimed as a victim of serious pirate attack, whereas at least they are being attacked twice in a month for a year of 2003 and 2004. These pirate conducted activities include the hijacking of the fishing boats and taking fisher hostage for ransom. Secondly, little vessels that travel off the shore of the Indonesia or those on neighborhood voyages. An example, Malaysia, Port Klang to the port of Belawan in Indonesia. Thirdly, the pirate aim ships that can give benefit to them, such as which carry the lucrative merchandise such as gasoline, will the most demand for them. The pirate also acknowledged the largest ship tend to bring cash in the vessel for the purpose of paying the boat's salary, fees for the port hire or ship repair of any damage during the sailing and the purchase of essentials in the vessel.
The Strait of Malacca's geography makes the region inclined to piracy activities. It was and still is an important passageway between China and India, which is used heavily for commercial trade. The strait is on the route between Europe, the Suez Canal, the oil exporting countries of the Persian Gulf, and the busy ports of East Asia. So let us analyze on how the geography of Strait of Malacca affects the activities of the pirates. Firstly, why is Strait of Malacca piracy prone? There are several factors on why Strait of Malacca is a piracy-prone area, such as, firstly is the relative narrowness of the channel. The tightest point measured is only 3 kilometers wide and 2 meters deep, which ship must limit the speed to proceed through the strait. This has been an advantage for pirates who approach the vessel via inflatable high-speed craft. Secondly would be the climate condition that occasionally hides small pirates' crafts from radars's screens. The haze that occur in the southern part of Malacca Strait during monsoon season can limit the usability, which leads to the attack. Thirdly is the relatively slow speed at which the ship must proceed through the strait. The strait also passes through Indonesian water, which are largely unprotected by Coast Guard, consists of tiny islands, and its route is a Hollywood-ready seascape of tropical isles and secret coves, providing ample highways for the pirates to make their escape. Hence, these are some of the factors that allow the Malacca Strait to be vulnerable toward pirates' attack. Next, why do piracy occur? I would like to discuss on what are the motives of the pirates to act such ways. Firstly, they are looking for the easiest way to gain profit. They are also usually claimed as criminals of opportunity. They search for easy targets, robbing ships and their crews of money and valuables. Besides, this is due to the locals' poor economic condition. Secondly, piracy is used as a form of political resistance to colonialism. Those working with or belonging to organized crime syndicates tend to attack with more sophisticated ways and proper planning. Their operations require skill, coordination, and funding in order to achieve their aim, which is to steal large cargoes or to kidnap ship's crews for ransom. Next, those associated with terrorists or secessionist groups with political motivation operate similarly as to what I've explained before, but it differs in that they seek funding in order to continue terrorist activities or to make political statements. What are the forms of piracy? Next is I would like to explain on how piracy activities is conducted. Firstly, it might involve minimum use of force in shipboarding in order to obtain cash, valuables from the ship's safe and the crew. This type of attack is based on the degree of skill that is used to board the ship, which violence is used less unless resistance is offered. The pirates will usually come alongside a ship underway, often during the night, and take their belongings such as cash. This non-violent approach is said to be making this problem more difficult to combat. Secondly, this type of piracy involves the boarding of the ship and the theft of its cargo and crew's personal valuables, which is more inclined towards violence. The high degree of violence is measured by their heavily armed equipments after boarding a ship. Their targets are more on money, negotiable goods, items of cargo, and the ship's equipment. Some of the targeted ships are at anchor. Although this form is usually seen among the South American and West African piracy, it's similarly with Asian piracy is that these pirates come alongside in a small craft and mount high-sided ships in a swift and sharp motion. Lastly would be it involves hijacking the ship underway, overpowering the crew and stealing the vessel's entire cargo. In some cases, the pirates would return the ship in the hands of the crew. However, in more extreme cases, the crew are either thrown overboard or even killed.
To analyze the effectiveness of maritime security in combating maritime piracy in Straits of Malacca. 1. Who control all involved in the maritime security in Malacca Straits? Malaysia Maritime Enforcement Agency. MMEA serves as the coast guard of Malaysia and a major government agency. This organization plays a role in maintaining the law or orders, coordinating search and rescue operations in the Malaysian Maritime Zone or the Piracies. MMEA can be combined under the command of the Malaysian Armed Force during emergencies, special crisis, and wartime. The second one is the Marine Operation Force (MOF). Part of the Royal Malaysian Police Marine plays a role in maintaining the law, keeping order, coordination search and rescue operations in the Malaysian maritime area or in the high sea. MOF have a 5-man base around the peninsula and East Malaysia. The main base of maritime security in Malaysia is the South Region Marine Police Force Region 2 based in Tapur, Johor. South Region Marine Police Force Region 2 is not only responsible for maritime activity in Malacca only, but also at Johor and Negeri Sembilan. 2. Challenges in combating maritime piracy in Malacca Strait. 1. The problem of the sovereignty of the country. Although Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia have established Malacca Strait Coordinator Bureau to provide original efforts, however, piracy continues to occur. Resources provided by this country is quite limited and contribute to the total increase in piracy activity that is become increasingly widespread. Second, the number of air operations under long-range patrolling is often a problem, especially when the weather is rough. This is because less communication between the countries involved and also caused by circumstances they are not allowed. The third one is the international law implementation. First, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS.
In 1996, Malaysia has become one of the country members of the UNCLOS, and most of the law preserved in UNCLOS was drafted to be a part of national law in the Territorial Sea Act 2012. Under Article 3 of UNCLOS, a coastal state can claim up to 12 nautical miles, which is about 22 kilometers from the baseline of the territorial sea of the coastal state. If more than 12 nautical miles, the coastal state cannot claim sovereignty but can still practice their sovereignty rights up to 200 nautical miles, about 370 kilometers, of the exclusive economic zone, better known as the fishery zone.
Fourth, security action from a sea neighboring country on combating piracy. First, cooperation in maintaining its territorial water in the border region and improve security surrounding population. The form of cooperation that must be related to the control of the border that spread the country from further invaded by the enemy. In fact, the exchange of military personnel was also implemented to facilitate this cooperation and to understand each other. Second, bilateral relations with neighboring countries combat maritime aggression. It's aimed to address all the problems and issues that may include the political, economic, and social development of the country. This relationship will also cover the invasion by applying heavy law to avoid from neighboring countries to be tough to others.